Welcome back, Coinology. Imagine holding a tiny coin in your hand, a simple 1-cent piece that most people ignore, toss into jars, or drop on the street without even looking back. A coin so common that millions of people around the world believe it has almost no importance. Yet sometimes the smallest objects carry the biggest mysteries, the biggest stories, and the biggest possibilities. Somewhere in your pocket change, hidden in a drawer, or resting quietly inside a forgotten coin jar, there might be a tiny copper-colored coin dated 2015 with a small letter D beneath the ear. At first glance it looks completely ordinary. But when collectors and numismatists begin to examine coins like this closely, the story becomes far more fascinating than anyone could imagine. The 2015 D 1-cent coin belongs to one of the longest-running coin designs in the history of the United States. For more than a century, the Lincoln cent has remained a symbol of American currency and national history. The first Lincoln penny appeared in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, and ever since then his portrait has remained on the front of the coin. When you look at a 2015 D penny, you are actually looking at a design tradition that stretches back more than 100 years. On the front side of the coin, also called the obverse, you will see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right. This portrait was originally created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB appear on the coin. Around Lincoln's image you will see the words "In God We Trust" above his head, the word "Liberty" to the left, and the year 2015 to the right, with a small D mint mark below the date indicating that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. But the story of this coin does not end with the portrait of Lincoln. Turn the coin over and you will see a powerful design known as the Union Shield. This design was introduced in 2010 as part of a redesign of the penny's reverse side. The shield symbolizes the unity of the United States, representing the strength of the nation that Abraham Lincoln fought to preserve during the Civil War. The shield contains 13 vertical stripes representing the original 13 states, joined together under a single horizontal bar that represents the federal government holding the Union together. Across the center of the shield runs a banner that reads 1 cent, and above it you will see the words United States of America. Near the top appears the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. At first glance, this small coin may appear simple, but every tiny detail was carefully designed by artists and engravers working at the United States Mint. The reverse design of the Union Shield was created by artist Lyndall Bass, while sculptor-engraver Joseph Mena helped translate the design into the metal dies used to strike the coins. When millions and billions of coins are produced each year, every line, curve, and symbol must be carefully engineered so that it can be reproduced perfectly again and again. The physical characteristics of the 2015 D penny also reveal interesting details about modern coin production. Unlike early pennies made entirely of copper, modern pennies are actually composed mostly of zinc. The 2015 penny contains a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper, giving it the familiar reddish color people associate with pennies. The metal composition is about 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. The coin weighs approximately 2.5 grams, has a diameter of about 19 millimeters, and features a smooth edge rather than a reeded one. These specifications might seem like minor technical details, but they play an important role in determining the authenticity and collectability of coins. Experienced collectors often measure the weight and diameter of a coin to verify whether it is genuine. Even a small difference in weight could indicate that a coin was struck on the wrong planchet, made with unusual metal composition, or altered in some way. Sometimes these unusual characteristics can turn an ordinary coin into a rare and valuable collectible. Now here is where the story becomes truly interesting. The 2015 D penny was produced in enormous quantities. In fact, the United States Mint struck more than 4.6 billion pennies at the Denver Mint alone that year. Billions of coins entering circulation means that most examples of the 2015 D penny are extremely common. In ordinary circulated condition, the coin is usually worth exactly what it says on its face value, 1 cent. Even coins in pristine mint state condition often sell for only a few dollars to collectors. Some high-grade certified examples might reach around $8 or slightly more depending on condition and grading, but coin collecting has always been filled with surprises. Sometimes a coin that appears ordinary can hide extraordinary features. Rare errors, unusual strike characteristics, and exceptionally preserved specimens can dramatically increase the value of certain coins. This is why coin collectors carefully examine every detail of their coins using magnifying glasses, microscopes, and specialized grading techniques. One type of valuable coin variety involves minting errors. During the coin striking process, blank metal discs called planchets are fed into large presses that strike the coin designs with tremendous pressure. If something unusual happens during this process, the resulting coin may contain visible anomalies that collectors find fascinating. For example, a rim cut error occurs when part of the die breaks near the edge of the coin, creating a raised irregular area along the rim. A 2015 D penny with such an error graded MS65 once sold for more than $300. Another type of error is known as a lamination error. This happens when impurities in the metal cause layers of the coin to peel or crack after striking. These imperfections can give the coin a unique appearance that collectors sometimes pay hundreds of dollars to acquire. In one recorded case, a 2015 D penny with a lamination error sold for more than $600 at auction. Die clash errors represent yet another fascinating category. When the coin striking dies collide without a planchet between them, part of the design from one die can be transferred onto the other. Later coins struck with these damaged dies may show ghost-like impressions of the opposite design elements. A 2015 D penny with a die clash error once sold for nearly $500, showing how unusual production mistakes can transform an everyday coin into a collectible treasure. These examples reveal an important truth about coin collecting: rarity is not always about age. Some coins from the 1800s may be common because millions were produced and preserved, while certain modern coins can become rare because of unusual errors or exceptional conditions. When collectors evaluate coins, they often use a grading scale that ranges from heavily worn to perfect mint state. Coins that have never been circulated often display bright surfaces, strong details, and vibrant original color. For copper-plated coins like the 2015 penny, collectors sometimes describe the color using designations such as brown, or red. A coin classified as red typically retains most of its original mint color and is often more desirable to collectors than coins that have darkened over time. In rare cases, a coin graded at the very highest levels can sell for dramatically higher prices. For example, a top-grade 2015 D penny graded MS67 or higher has sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. While these values are far from the dramatic claims sometimes seen in viral videos, they still demonstrate how condition can influence coin value, and yet the fascination with coins like the 2015 D penny goes far beyond simple monetary value. Every coin represents a small piece of history, a tiny artifact of the economic system that millions of people interact with every day. Think about how many hands a single penny might pass through during its lifetime. It might travel from a mint facility to a bank, from a bank to a store, from a store to a customer, and eventually into a collection jar or coin album. Along the way, the tiny coin witnesses countless moments in everyday life. It might be part of a child's first savings jar. Now imagine the moment after someone first discovers that the ordinary coin sitting quietly in their hand might actually hold a deeper story. That moment of curiosity is what transforms a simple piece of pocket change into something far more intriguing. The 2015 D 1-cent coin continues its journey through the world of collectors, historians, and everyday people who suddenly realize that even the smallest object can hold layers of meaning, design, and possibility. Picture a quiet evening where someone empties a handful of coins onto a table. The sound of metal tapping against the wood echoes softly in the room. Among those coins lies a small copper-colored penny stamped with the year 2015 and the tiny letter D beneath the date. At first it looks exactly like thousands of other pennies produced during the same year. But the more closely someone examines it, the more fascinating the details become. The portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front side of the coin has been a defining feature of American currency for more than a century. When the Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909, it marked a historic moment because it was the first regular circulating U.S. coin to feature the portrait of a real person rather than an allegorical figure like Liberty. Before that time, American coins often avoided depicting real individuals. But Lincoln's legacy was so powerful that the nation chose to honor him permanently on its smallest denomination coin. Over the decades, billions upon billions of Lincoln cents have been produced. Yet each one still carries the same symbolic portrait, representing leadership, perseverance, and unity during one of the most challenging periods in American history. The 2015 D penny continues that legacy, linking modern everyday currency to events that occurred more than 150 years ago. When collectors examine the design carefully, they notice the fine details that many people overlook. The subtle texture of Lincoln's hair, the smooth curves of the lettering, and the carefully balanced spacing of the words all reflect the skill of the engravers who created the coin's dies. Even though modern minting technology allows coins to be produced at incredible speeds, the artistic design process remains deeply rooted in sculpture and craftsmanship. Turn the coin over again to the reverse side with the Union Shield design. The shield is more than just decoration. It represents the idea that individual states can remain united under a single national government. The 13 vertical stripes symbolize the original 13 colonies, each separate yet connected. Above them, the horizontal bar at the top of the shield represents the federal government holding those states together. When the Union Shield design was introduced in 2010, it carried a powerful message about unity and national identity. Even on a small coin worth only 1 cent, the symbolism reminds people of the broader story of a nation built from many parts coming together. Now imagine the journey of a single 2015 D penny as it leaves the Denver Mint. Freshly struck, it gleams with a bright copper color that reflects light almost like a mirror. The surfaces are crisp and sharp, with every design detail perfectly visible. The coin travels from the mint into large bags, then into armored trucks that carry it to banks across the country. From there, the penny enters circulation. It might pass through grocery stores, gas stations, restaurants, and vending machines. It might become part of a child's allowance or end up dropped into a charity collection box. Over time, the once bright surface slowly darkens as the copper plating reacts with air and moisture. Every scratch, mark, and change in color tells a story about the coin's journey. A small nick might have come from rubbing against other coins in a cash register. A dark spot might have formed after years of exposure to humidity. These tiny imperfections become part of the coin's unique history. Collectors often describe coins as tiny time capsules because they capture the physical wear of everyday life. A heavily circulated coin may have passed through thousands of hands. A coin that remains in perfect condition may have been saved early in its life and stored carefully in a collection. This difference in preservation can dramatically influence value. A coin that still looks almost exactly as it did when it left the mint may be graded as mint state. Professional grading services examine coins under magnification to evaluate surface quality, strike strength, and overall eye appeal. The grading scale used by collectors ranges from poor condition all the way up to the highest levels of mint state quality. When a coin receives a very high grade, collectors often compete to add it to their collections, especially if only a few examples have been preserved at that level. But grading is only one factor that can influence the value of a coin. Minting errors are another area that fascinates collectors. The minting process involves high-speed machinery striking coins with tremendous force. Even with strict quality control, unusual mistakes sometimes occur. Imagine a blank metal disc entering the striking chamber slightly off-center. When the dies press together, part of the design may appear cut off or shifted toward one side. The resulting coin may look strange compared to normal examples, but collectors often find such errors extremely interesting. Other times the metal planchet itself may contain flaws. If the metal strip used to create planchets contains impurities or structural weaknesses, the coin may develop cracks or peeling layers after being struck. These unusual patterns can make the coin stand out dramatically. In rare cases, dies used to strike coins can develop small cracks or chips after striking thousands or millions of coins. These die defects can transfer unusual marks onto the coins produced afterward. When collectors identify these marks, they sometimes classify them as specific varieties that can be traced back to particular dies. The idea that a coin could contain a tiny error created during a split second inside a minting machine is one of the reasons coin collecting remains so exciting. A coin that appears ordinary to one person might reveal rare characteristics to someone with careful attention and experience. Now imagine someone examining a jar of old coins late at night, slowly turning each penny under a bright lamp. Most coins appear worn and ordinary. But suddenly one coin catches their attention. Perhaps the lettering looks slightly doubled. Maybe the edge shows a strange raised shape that does not appear on other coins. That moment of discovery sends a spark of excitement through the collector's mind. They begin researching, comparing photographs, and consulting reference guides. Sometimes these investigations lead to the identification of rare varieties that had gone unnoticed before. Stories like these have become legendary in the world of numismatics. Collectors love to share tales of coins discovered in unexpected places. A rare coin might appear in a roll of pennies from the bank, in a bag of coins inherited from a relative, or even in change received from a simple purchase. The 2015 D penny may seem too modern to hold such possibilities, but history has shown that even recent coins can develop collector interest over time. As years pass and coins gradually disappear from circulation, certain varieties or high-grade examples can become harder to find. Another fascinating aspect of modern pennies involves the metal composition used to produce them. Earlier pennies were made mostly of copper, giving them a solid reddish appearance and slightly heavier weight. But during the early 1980s, rising copper prices forced the United States Mint to change the composition. Modern pennies, including the 2015 D coin, contain a zinc core covered by a thin copper plating. This combination reduces production costs while maintaining the familiar look of traditional pennies. The weight of approximately 2.5 grams reflects this modern composition. Collectors sometimes use precise digital scales to confirm a coin's weight. If a coin weighs significantly more or less than expected. Now imagine that the story of this small 2015 D penny continues to unfold in ways that most people would never expect. A coin that once passed quietly through a grocery store checkout line might later become the focus of intense curiosity among collectors and researchers. The fascinating thing about coins is that their true stories often remain hidden until someone begins asking questions. Picture a collector sitting at a desk late at night with a magnifying glass, a bright lamp, and a small digital scale. In front of them lies a small pile of pennies gathered from pocket change, coin rolls from the bank, and old jars that have been sitting untouched for years. One by one, the coins are examined carefully. Most of them appear completely ordinary. Their surfaces are worn, their color darkened by time, and their designs softened by years of circulation. But then a single coin catches the collector's attention. The date reads 2015. Beneath the date sits the small letter D, indicating the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. At first, there seems to be nothing unusual about it. But when the collector tilts the coin under the light, something looks slightly different. Perhaps the shine is brighter than usual, or maybe the design appears slightly stronger and sharper than the other coins nearby. This is where the real excitement of coin collecting begins. Collectors understand that coins can vary dramatically depending on the dies used to strike them, the pressure of the minting machines, and the quality of the metal planchets. Even small differences can create varieties that become highly desirable. When the United States Mint produces coins, the process begins with long strips of metal that are punched into blank discs known as planchets. These planchets are then cleaned, polished, and fed into massive coining presses. Inside these presses, hardened steel dies strike the planchets with incredible pressure, imprinting the coin's design. The entire process happens in a fraction of a second, yet within that fraction of a second, many things can occur that change the outcome of the coin. If a die has developed a small crack or chip, the resulting coins may show unusual raised lines or shapes. If the planchet is slightly misaligned when it is struck, the design may appear off-center. If the metal strip had a hidden impurity, the finished coin might show peeling or layered surfaces. These tiny differences create what collectors call mint errors, and mint errors can turn a coin that normally sells for a few cents into something much more interesting. Imagine a coin struck slightly off-center. Instead of the design appearing perfectly in the middle, part of the design may be pushed closer to the edge. On some error coins, part of the blank metal planchet remains visible without any design at all. These coins look unusual and often attract the attention of collectors. Another fascinating type of error is called a double die. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin receives a slightly doubled image during its creation process. When coins are struck with such a die, certain letters or numbers may appear doubled under magnification. The effect can be subtle or dramatic depending on how strong the doubling is. If a collector discovered a strong doubled die on a 2015 D penny, the value could increase significantly compared with a normal coin. Collectors enjoy identifying such varieties and cataloging them in reference guides. There are also situations where coins are struck on the wrong type of planchet. Although this is rare, it can happen if a planchet intended for another denomination accidentally enters the press. When this occurs, the resulting coin may have a different weight, color, or size than normal pennies. Imagine discovering a 2015 D penny that weighs more than expected or appears slightly different in color. Such a coin would immediately attract attention from collectors and grading experts. Coins struck on incorrect planchets have sold for thousands of dollars in the past. Now imagine the excitement building as the collector continues examining the 2015 D penny under magnification. The edges appear smooth and normal. The lettering is sharp. The shield design on the reverse looks strong and detailed. But something about the coin still feels special. Perhaps it is the extraordinary condition. Coins that remain in perfect condition are extremely difficult to find. especially after they have entered circulation. Even a tiny scratch or contact mark can reduce a coin's grade. But sometimes a coin is preserved almost perfectly, as if it had just left the mint. Collectors refer to such coins as high mint state examples. Professional grading services examine these coins under powerful microscopes and assign them grades based on a scale that ranges up to the highest levels of perfection. A coin graded at the very top of the scale may be one of only a handful known to exist in such condition. This rarity can make collectors extremely eager to obtain the coin. Imagine that the collector decides to send the 2015 D penny to a professional grading service. The coin is carefully packaged and shipped to experts who specialize in evaluating coins. Weeks pass as the coin is examined, authenticated, and graded. Finally, the results arrive that the coin has received an exceptionally high grade. Suddenly, the small coin that once sat unnoticed among ordinary pocket change has become something far more interesting. Collectors begin to take notice. Photographs of the coin appear in online listings and collector forums. People discuss the coin's surfaces, its color, and its remarkable preservation. This is how the reputation of a coin can begin to grow, but the story becomes even more intriguing when rumors begin to circulate about rare varieties that may exist within a particular year of coins. Sometimes collectors speculate that certain experimental dyes or unusual minting conditions produced coins with characteristics that were never widely documented. When such rumors appear, collectors begin searching more intensely. Thousands of people may start examining their coins more carefully, hoping to find something unusual. Coin roll hunters visit banks and request rolls of pennies to search through them one by one. Online communities share images and compare discoveries. In this way, the story of the 2015 D penny begins spreading through the collecting world. Some collectors believe that among the billions of coins produced that year, a few extraordinary pieces might exist with rare characteristics that have yet to be fully recognized. Perhaps a special strike with exceptional luster. Perhaps a dramatic mint error that slipped past quality control. Perhaps a nearly perfect specimen preserved since the day it was minted. The possibility of such discoveries keeps collectors fascinated, and sometimes, the value of coins can rise dramatically when a particularly rare example appears at auction. When multiple collectors compete to own the same rare coin, the price can climb far beyond what most people would ever expect for a simple penny. Stories circulate within the hobby about coins selling for astonishing amounts. Some rare pennies from earlier decades have sold for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars due to their rarity and historical importance. These stories capture the imagination of people everywhere, because suddenly the idea that a coin worth only 1 cent could one day become worth thousands of dollars feels both exciting and mysterious. Imagine walking down the street and finding a penny lying on the ground. Most people would ignore it. Some might pick it up out of habit or curiosity. But for a coin collector, that tiny coin represents possibility. It could be an ordinary penny, or it could be something far more interesting. The same idea applies to the 2015 D penny. Even though billions were produced, the possibility that rare varieties or extraordinary examples might exist keeps collectors searching. Some people examine their coins carefully every day, hoping to find something unusual. Others build complete collections of Lincoln cents spanning more than a century. Each coin represents another piece of a puzzle that connects the past to the present, and in the center of that puzzle lies the simple 1-cent coin. A coin that once paid for candy in a small store. A coin that might have traveled through hundreds of cities. A coin that could have passed through thousands of hands before arriving in someone's collection. Its journey continues quietly, unnoticed by most people, but for those who understand the hidden world of coin collecting, every penny tells a story waiting to be discovered. And as the mystery surrounding the 2015 D penny continues to grow, collectors remain curious about what secrets might still be hiding among the billions of coins circulating across the country, because sometimes the smallest discoveries lead to the biggest surprises. The story of the 2015 D penny becomes even more fascinating when we begin to imagine the hidden journey of coins long after they leave the mint. Most people never think about where their coins come from or where they go after they spend them. Yet every coin begins its life in a place filled with powerful machines, molten metal, precision engineering, and skilled workers whose job is to create billions of identical pieces of currency. Deep inside the Denver Mint, enormous presses strike coins every minute. Each press operates with incredible speed and accuracy. Blank metal discs move along conveyor systems and slide into position beneath hardened steel dies. With a thunderous strike of pressure, the dies stamp the design onto the metal, instantly transforming a blank planchet into a finished coin. This process happens thousands of times every hour. Workers carefully monitor the machines, ensuring that the coins being produced meet strict quality standards. But when millions or even billions of coins are being made, tiny variations are inevitable. Sometimes the dies wear down slightly. Sometimes a microscopic crack forms in the steel. Sometimes a planchet is slightly imperfect. These tiny differences create subtle variations in the coins, and those variations are what collectors search for. And now imagine that somewhere during the production of the 2015 pennies, a particular die began developing a tiny imperfection. At first, the flaw might have been so small that no one noticed it. The machines continued striking coins, and the flaw slowly transferred its shape onto the coins being produced. Coin after coin carried the mark. Most of those coins entered circulation without anyone noticing. They traveled through banks, stores, and vending machines like all the others. But years later, a collector examining their change might suddenly notice the unusual detail, perhaps a tiny raised line near the shield on the reverse side, perhaps a strange shape along the rim, perhaps a doubling in the lettering that becomes visible under magnification. These discoveries are the moments that make coin collecting exciting. A collector might spend hours examining hundreds of coins, only to find a single piece that looks different from the rest. When such a coin appears, the next step is investigation. Collectors compare their discovery with reference books and online databases. They search photographs of known varieties. They ask other collectors for opinions. Sometimes the discovery turns out to be a known variety that already has a place in the catalog of coin errors. Other times the discovery is something completely new. When a new variety is identified, the coin collecting community becomes extremely interested. Experts study the coin to confirm that the feature was created during the minting process rather than being caused by damage after circulation. If the feature is confirmed as a genuine mint error or variety, the coin may become famous among collectors. Now imagine that a particularly unusual 2015 penny appears with a combination of characteristics that are rarely seen together. Perhaps it shows a dramatic off-center strike while still displaying most of the design. Perhaps it has a strong double die effect combined with exceptional mint state preservation. Such a coin would immediately capture attention. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents would want to study it carefully. Photographs of the coin might spread through online forums, collector websites, and auction platforms. People would begin discussing the coin's rarity and potential value. One collector might say that only a few examples like this have ever been seen. Another might argue that it could be a unique specimen. The excitement builds as more people learn about the coin. Eventually, the owner decides to submit the coin to a professional grading service. Experts analyze the surfaces, the strike, and the unusual features. After careful evaluation, they confirm that the coin is genuine and assign it an official grade. This moment can dramatically change the coin's future. A certified coin with an extremely rare mint error or exceptional grade becomes far more desirable to collectors. Auction houses may become interested in selling the coin because rare coins often attract competitive bidding. Imagine the coin appearing in a major auction catalog. Photographs show the coin's brilliant surfaces and unusual features. The description explains the rarity of the variety and the remarkable condition of the piece. Collectors around the world begin watching the listing. When the auction day arrives, bidders begin competing. At first, the price rises slowly. A few collectors place cautious bids. Then someone raises the bid again. Another collector joins in, unwilling to let the coin slip away. The numbers continue climbing. Hundreds of dollars become thousands, thousands become tens of thousands. This dramatic increase in price might seem unbelievable for a coin that originally had a face value of just 1 cent. But in the world of rare coins, value is determined not by the denomination but by rarity, condition, and demand among collectors. Throughout history, there have been many examples of coins that sold for astonishing amounts. Rare pennies from earlier decades have reached incredible prices because they combine historical significance with extreme rarity. Collectors understand that the value of a coin comes from its story. The 2015 penny, despite being a modern coin, can still carry a story if it possesses unique characteristics. A rare error, an experimental strike, or an exceptionally preserved example can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's treasure. Imagine the moment when the auction finally closes, the final price appears on the screen, and collectors watching the auction react with excitement and disbelief. The small coin that once circulated unnoticed has now become the center of attention in the numismatic world. Stories about the coin begin spreading through coin collecting communities. Articles appear discussing the discovery and the auction results. People begin checking their own pennies more carefully, wondering if they might find something similar. This is how legends in the coin collecting world are born. A single discovery can inspire thousands of collectors to search through their coins with renewed enthusiasm. Now imagine someone sitting at home with a jar filled with old pennies. After hearing about the remarkable discovery of a rare 2015 D penny, they decide to examine their coins more closely. One by one, they inspect the dates, mint marks, and designs. Most of the coins look ordinary, but suddenly they notice a 2015 penny with a small D mint mark. They hold it under the light and turn it slowly. The copper surface reflects a warm glow. The shield on the reverse side appears strong and detailed. Could it be something special? This question is what keeps collectors searching, because the truth is that rare coins are often discovered by ordinary people who simply take the time to look carefully. Some of the most valuable coins in history were not discovered in museums or vaults. They were found in pocket change, inherited collections, or forgotten jars sitting on shelves for years. The possibility that another remarkable coin might still be waiting to be discovered adds a sense of adventure to the hobby, and the 2015 D penny, despite being modern, remains part of that adventure. Every coin carries the possibility of a hidden story. A coin might have traveled through hundreds of cities. It might have been used in countless everyday purchases. It might have been lost and found again many times, yet through all those journeys, the coin continues to exist as a small piece of metal stamped with history, design, and symbolism. Abraham Lincoln's portrait still gazes forward on the obverse, reminding people of the leadership that preserved a nation during a time of great struggle. The Union shield still stands proudly on the reverse, representing the strength of unity. And somewhere within the vast ocean of circulating coins, a few special pieces might exist that carry unique characteristics waiting to be discovered. Collectors know that patience and curiosity are the keys to finding those treasures. They search through rolls of coins from banks. They examine coins at flea markets and antique shops. They study photographs of rare varieties and compare them with the coins in their own collections. Sometimes the search lasts for years without a major discovery, but then, suddenly, a coin appears that changes everything. A tiny penny, worth only 1 cent at first glance, becomes the center of a remarkable story. The journey of the 2015 D penny becomes even more mysterious when we begin to imagine what happens many years after the coin first entered circulation. Coins are different from many other objects because they rarely disappear completely. They travel from person to person, city to city, sometimes even country to country. One single coin can remain in circulation for decades, quietly moving through thousands of hands while nobody realizes the story it carries. Think about the life of a single penny after it leaves the mint. The bright copper surface slowly begins to change. The shine fades slightly as the coin rubs against other coins. Tiny scratches appear as it slides across counters, tables, and pockets. Every small mark becomes part of the coin's history. The 2015 D penny might have started its journey in a sealed mint bag along with thousands of other identical coins. From there it could have been shipped to a bank somewhere in the United States. A cashier might have opened a roll of fresh pennies and poured them into a cash drawer. From that moment forward, the coin begins its long journey through everyday life. Maybe it was used to buy a newspaper. Maybe it was part of the change given to someone purchasing groceries. Perhaps it ended up inside a child's piggy bank or in a jar sitting on a kitchen shelf. Coins move constantly, and most people never stop to examine them closely, but collectors see coins differently. For a collector, every penny is a potential discovery. Even modern coins can hide surprises. That is why many collectors spend hours searching through coin rolls from banks. They carefully inspect each coin, turning it under a bright light and examining every detail with magnification. Now imagine a collector opening a roll of pennies that had been stored in a bank vault for years. The coins inside might have remained untouched since the day they were minted. When the collector pours them out onto a table, dozens of bright copper coins appear, each stamped with the year 2015 and the tiny letter D. At first glance they all look identical, but careful examination often reveals small differences. Some coins might have stronger details than others. Some may show tiny marks created during the minting process. Some might have slightly different shades of color depending on how the metal reacted with the environment. Collectors understand that the condition of a coin plays a major role in its value. A coin that has never circulated may still display its original mint luster, the shimmering effect that appears when light reflects off the microscopic lines created by the dies during striking. This luster is one of the most beautiful features of a newly minted coin. When collectors tilt such a coin under a light, the surface seems to glow and move, creating what experts call a cartwheel effect. This effect is a sign that the coin has remained largely untouched since it left the mint. If a 2015 D penny is discovered in such pristine condition, it might receive a very high grade when evaluated by professional grading services. High-grade modern coins sometimes become surprisingly valuable because very few examples survive without damage or wear, but condition alone is not the only factor that creates excitement among collectors. Mint errors continue to fascinate the coin collecting world. The minting process, although highly controlled, is still a mechanical process involving metal, pressure, and speed. When even a small irregularity occurs, it can leave a permanent mark on the coin. Imagine a die that develops a tiny crack during production. Each time the die strikes a coin, the crack transfers a raised line onto the coin's surface. Over time, the crack may grow larger, creating more dramatic features. Collectors call these features die cracks. Some die cracks form interesting patterns that collectors find very appealing. A long crack stretching across the shield design of a 2015 D penny could make the coin instantly recognizable and collectible. Other types of mint errors include die chips, which occur when a small piece of the die breaks away. This leaves a raised blob of metal on the coin where the missing piece of the die once existed. These blobs sometimes appear in specific areas of the design, such as inside letters or along the rim. To a casual observer, these details might look like damage. But experienced collectors know the difference between post-mint damage and genuine mint errors. That knowledge is what makes coin collecting such a fascinating hobby. Now imagine that one particular 2015 D penny contains a combination of unusual features that make it stand out from all others. Perhaps it was struck with an early die that produced exceptionally sharp details. Maybe it also shows a noticeable die crack that runs through part of the design. The coin might also have remained in near perfect condition for years. When such a coin appears, collectors quickly become interested. They compare the coin with other known examples and begin discussing its rarity. Sometimes a coin that initially seems ordinary becomes extremely desirable once collectors realize how unusual it actually is. The story might continue when the coin appears in a public auction. Auction houses specializing in rare coins often present detailed descriptions, high-resolution photographs, and historical background information about the pieces they sell. Collectors around the world watch these auctions carefully. Bidding can become intense when a rare coin appears. Two collectors who both want the coin may continue raising their bids again and again. Each new bid pushes the price higher. The excitement grows as the auction approaches its final moments. Suddenly the price reaches levels that would surprise most people. Hundreds of dollars turn into thousands. Thousands may turn into tens of thousands if the coin is considered truly exceptional. Although the majority of 2015 D pennies are common and worth only a few cents, the rarest examples with unusual characteristics can command much higher prices among serious collectors. Stories about these discoveries spread quickly through the coin collecting community. Articles appear in magazines and online forums discussing the coin's features and its auction results. Soon people everywhere begin checking their own coins. A person might open a jar of pennies that has been sitting untouched for years. As they sort through the coins, they start paying attention to the dates and mint marks. They notice several pennies dated 2015. Some have no mint mark, indicating they were produced in Philadelphia. Others display the small d from the Denver Mint. Each coin is examined carefully. Most appear ordinary. But the excitement of searching keeps the process interesting. Every coin is a small mystery waiting to be solved. The simple act of examining coins becomes a treasure hunt. Collectors understand that patience is essential. Rare coins are not found every day. But the possibility that the next coin might be special keeps people motivated. Imagine the feeling of discovering a coin that looks slightly different from all the others. Perhaps the shield design seems stronger. Perhaps the lettering appears doubled. Perhaps the coin still shines with the bright red color of freshly minted copper. At that moment the collector's heart begins to race with curiosity. Could this be something rare? The coin is set aside for further study. Magnification is used to inspect every detail. Photographs are taken and compared with reference images. Sometimes the discovery turns out to be a known variety already documented by experts. Other times it becomes a new discovery. This is how the stories of rare coins continue to grow year after year. The hobby evolves as collectors uncover new varieties and share their findings with others. The 2015 D penny may seem like a modern coin, but time has a way of changing how coins are viewed. Decades from now, collectors might look back on early 21st century coins with the same fascination that today's collectors feel for coins from the early 1900s. Coins that once circulated widely may become harder to find in high condition as years pass. Some will be lost, some will be damaged, some will remain hidden in private collections. And a few extraordinary examples may rise to fame because of their rarity or unique characteristics. The journey of the 2015 D penny is therefore far from over. Every coin still circulating today carries the possibility of becoming part of a new discovery tomorrow. Somewhere out there, perhaps in a forgotten jar or a bankroll waiting to be opened. Another remarkable 2015 D penny might still exist, waiting quietly, waiting for someone curious enough to notice it, and when that moment finally comes, the story of this tiny coin will grow even larger, reminding us once again that even the smallest piece of metal can hold a story worth far more than its face value. The story of the 2015 D penny reaches its most dramatic moment when we begin to imagine the rare situations that transform an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. For years, the coin might move quietly through circulation without anyone paying attention to it. It could pass through stores, vending machines, and banks without ever being noticed. To most people, it remains nothing more than a 1-cent coin, the smallest unit of American currency, but in the world of collectors, the smallest details can change everything. Imagine a quiet afternoon when a coin collector decides to search through a large jar of pennies that has been sitting in storage for years. The jar may contain coins from many different decades. Some coins are dark and worn, while others still carry a faint copper shine. The collector pours the coins onto a table and begins the slow process of examining them one by one. At first, the search feels routine. Pennies from the 1980s appear. Pennies from the 1990s appear. Then several coins from the early 2000s show up. The collector is not expecting anything extraordinary, but habit and curiosity keep the search going. Then suddenly the collector notices a penny dated 2015 with a small D mint mark. Normally that would not attract much attention. Billions of these coins were produced at the Denver Mint. But something about this particular coin looks unusual. The surface appears unusually bright, almost glowing compared to the surrounding coins. The collector picks it up and tilts it under the light. The shield design on the reverse side looks incredibly sharp. The lines inside the shield appear crisp and deeply defined. Even the tiny lettering seems unusually clear. Curiosity begins to grow. The collector reaches for a magnifying glass and studies the coin more carefully. Under magnification, the surfaces appear smoother than expected. The color is a vibrant reddish tone that collectors often call mint red, the natural color of freshly struck copper-plated coins. Coins with this level of preservation are not commonly found in circulation, but the discovery becomes even more interesting when the collector notices a small detail near the rim. There appears to be a raised line stretching slightly across part of the design. It is not damage. It looks like something created during the minting process itself. This could be a die crack. The collector's excitement begins to build. Die cracks occur when a minting die develops a fracture after striking thousands of coins. When this happens, the crack transfers a raised line onto every coin produced afterward. Some die cracks are small and barely visible, others become dramatic features that collectors love to find. The collector continues examining the coin and begins to notice additional unusual characteristics. The strike appears stronger than normal. The design details are sharper than those seen on many other coins from the same year. Now the possibility becomes clear. This might be an unusually well-struck example produced early in the life of a minting die. The collector decides to investigate further. Photographs are taken and compared with images of other known 2015 D pennies. Online forums and collector communities are consulted. The responses begin arriving quickly. Other collectors notice the same unusual features. Some point out that the coin surfaces appear exceptionally well preserved. Others mention that the die crack pattern looks uncommon. Soon the collector realizes that the coin might deserve professional evaluation. The coin is carefully placed in a protective holder and sent to a professional grading service where experts can study it closely. These services use advanced equipment and experienced graders to determine the authenticity, condition, and characteristics of coins. Weeks pass while the coin is examined. During that time, the collector wonders what the experts will say. Perhaps the coin will receive a high grade. Perhaps the die crack will be confirmed as a genuine mint error. Finally, the grading results arrive. The coin has been authenticated and assigned an exceptionally high mint state grade. Not only that, the graders confirm that the die crack and strike characteristics make the coin a highly unusual example for the year. Suddenly the small penny has become something far more important. News begins spreading among collectors. Photographs of the certified coin appear online. Experts discuss the quality of the strike and the unusual features that make the coin stand out. Interest grows rapidly. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents become especially curious. They know that modern coins in extremely high grades can become quite valuable if only a few examples exist. Eventually, the coin is listed for sale through a major auction house that specializes in rare coins. The auction catalog describes the coin in detail. High-resolution photographs display the bright red surfaces and the unusual die crack pattern. The description explains that the coin represents one of the finest known examples of the 2015 D Lincoln cent. Collectors around the world begin watching the listing. When the auction begins, bidding starts slowly. A few collectors place early bids just to participate. But as the auction continues, more serious bidders join in and the price begins to climb. Hundreds of dollars become thousands, thousands grow into tens of thousands. The excitement grows as collectors realize that this coin might become one of the most famous modern pennies ever sold. Point 2. Determined bidders begin competing fiercely for the coin. Each time one places a bid, the other quickly responds with a higher amount. The auction timer continues counting down while the numbers rise higher and higher. Observers watching the auction cannot believe what they are seeing. A coin that once had a face value of 1 cent is now commanding an astonishing price. Finally, the auction reaches its final moments. The last bids are placed, the hammer falls, the final price appears on the screen. The small 2015 D penny sells for an incredible amount, capturing the attention of collectors and news outlets alike. What began as an ordinary coin in circulation has now become a celebrated rarity within the world of numismatics. Stories about the coin spread quickly. Articles appear discussing how a simple penny discovered during a routine coin search became a remarkable collector's treasure. People everywhere begin checking their own coins more carefully. Coin jars are opened. Old collections are revisited. Bankrolls of pennies are searched with renewed enthusiasm, because the discovery of a rare coin always carries a powerful message. It reminds people that hidden treasures can sometimes exist in the most ordinary places. A single penny resting in a pocket or lying unnoticed in a drawer might carry a story waiting to be discovered. It might contain a rare error, an extraordinary strike, or an unusually perfect surface preserved by chance. Most coins will remain ordinary, but every once in a while, one coin stands out, and when that happens, the entire coin collecting community becomes fascinated. The legend of the valuable penny continues to inspire collectors around the world. It encourages people to slow down, examine the details, and appreciate the tiny pieces of history that pass through our hands every day, because in the end, the true magic of coin collecting is not just about money. It is about curiosity, it is about discovery, and it is about the realization that even the smallest coin can carry a story worth far more than anyone ever expected. The journey of the 2015 D penny therefore becomes a reminder that history, mystery, and possibility can all exist within a single tiny piece of metal, waiting patiently for someone curious enough to look a little closer.